All right, so the last dev diary that I gotta catch up on, at least for now. Maybe there's a new dev diary out and I've already made the video, but dev diary on modding. All right, so greetings all. Today we have a quite number of items on the dev diary we're covering in some addition to the career profile. Hello, I have update regarding your career profile. If you don't know, I'm gonna skip a lot of this bullshit because it's kind of useless. There's a career profile now. It tracks your bullshit. Oh my god. There's new stats that it tracks. Okay? All of this shit by blood alone, you keep track of on your current profile on Steam or wherever the fuck, but probably more than likely Steam. And yeah, cool. Stats for modded games. Previously, we've gathered a number from only vanilla games and set the data by both blah 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 modded games. Now looking at an MP count as well. So you can now technically, if I remember this correctly, they can add different achievements for mods. Which mods, if you play Fallout HOI4, they have their own system for giving you awards and shit. But now this makes it easier for them to actually give you the awards for doing so. So you get ribbons. Woo! You get ribbons and no grade. Blah 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 blah. But the more difficult they are for blah blah, nobody gives. I don't give a fuck. Maybe people give a fuck. Not me. Profile customization. You can customize your little profile for whatever fucking reason. Some pictures have been added. Friends all come together, like you show your day. We're adding a friends list to the game. You're able to find them in main menu. Oh my god. This will actually let you fucking invite people to the game and not have to take forever to do that. TLDR. All these features released together with the Avalanche Pan, so players who have the base game will be able to access playthrough, overview, award, and set profile pictures, and view friends, and have a career profile. Blah 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 blah. Hope you like that. Modding in-game achievements are future, so basically you can mod shit. Okay, the hard limitation is that no achievements will be displayed on Steam or stores otherwise. No way to know the completion rate among players. So cool. So modding features have some, and their future aim is to allow mods to define their own achievements, to display them, and to save them when a player completes them, so that they appear in the achievement starting a new game. But these were the feature aims, okay, and the hard limitations. We have joined forces with the Red King profile, blah 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 blah. So basically, if you were a modder that wants to give players little ribbons for whatever fucking reason, Total War is not going to do this. Black Ice ain't going to do this. The historical project mod. There will be very few mods that are going to put the time and effort to do this, but it's a nice thing that it does actually exist. But yeah, this is the fucking scripting for it happening. Behind the scenes, all the mods said blah 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 blah. Here's something we want to pay attention to: unit medals and units. Ahura back covers some script and whatever. As briefly mentioned last week, unit medals are being added for Black Blood alone. These are fully scripted to take a similar form and regulate database objects you will use to work with. Since the modifying these values, blah blah blah, takes a really good path as a possibility, so much shorter than other modifier scopes. We've added a list at the top of the meta files of suggestions. So Army org factor, blah 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 blah, experience factor, laws, German Iron Cross should have German medals triggered for anyone. Yes. Army org factor +1. There we go. See? So Army org factor +1, Iron Cross second class, leader modifier, blah 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 blah. So you can actually modify the fucking thing, and this is just basically showing you how. You'll note that the leader modifier is unused in vanilla game. This modifier will translate over to many army generals if the leader is promoted and will exert effect on the entire army. The one-time effect field will run if it affects the unit scope. You should be able to scope a unit's owner and run the effects on the country from this block. Working with this thing, mention new scripts on the Avalanche for the time being. Only army units will have access to the script. Those may be expanded in the future. The following will be added to you. So no Navy ships that can get big bonuses. Can't have that bullshit. And then yeah, random all this other fucking shit here. The balance of power. The balance of power is a feature built in and is a way to be extremely flexible and useful for modders. Given any country can have one balance of power at a time. There's nothing stopping you from having some balance of power. So Ethiopia Centralization. So basically, this is the fucking Ground Council and the Ethiopian bullshit. And it allows you to take that and put it in a different country, in a different mod, or whatever the fuck you want to do there, and, have the thing. and you can change the values around, okay? This means that instead of changing the entire balance of power, just replace one or both the size, blah, blah, blah. You can define the sky, blah, 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 blah. You can run the range. Again, if you're a modder, you can actually, understand a lot more shit than I can, but I can understand basically what the fuck they're saying here. Peace conferences are now moddable to somewhat simpler, but is more constrained with the rest of the game script standard, albeit costs or some bamboozle chains. Peace conferences now primarily work on a per state basis, with the exception of ships, stacked bids, which primarily due to technical limitations. Every turn, each state will be subjected to 2 evaluations for the country's respective you are playing and viewing. The first evaluation will define the bidding cost per action type for a state. The second will define the AI's desire to bid on that state. These 2 values do not correspond, but are affected by each other. In the above entry, this cost multiplier will be applied by the point of bidding for the country and is not either non-puppeted or is non-bidding for yourself, blah, blah, blah. You can add categories, which is important here, and will consolidate the value in the tooltip of the state peace conferences. This cost multiplier will only be bids that take states. Multipliers can be affecting and blah, blah, blah. So you can change the multiplication and the factors of what you're doing to peace conferences for different states things. Instead of affecting the cost, the effect of the AI subsequent evaluation of the cost will determine what to bid on. Here, the AI is a subject to a negative 75 desire to liberate the tags that belong to it, unlike the country tag scripted trigger. In order, it means the AI will prefer to not release certain wacky, wonderful tags. The AI's desire can be subject to multiple modifier entries. Okay. The AI's evaluation cost. So basically, you can change the percentages of the AI value to be more likely or less likely to actually do something in the peace conferences, which, again, is not that bad of an idea. This goes a long way to reducing the border gore and effectively takes a sample of desires to the bids. France, for example, would consider all puppets of Switzerland bids to be the same value and try to avoid leaving holes. So now a debug menu. We're expanding options in our Imgur by doing by blood alone. Now a handy air region in your map. Ooh, I like that. You can access the information in the console. All that information for next week. There will be dev breaks. Next week there will be a dev break in the dev diary. But tune in 2 weeks for a roundup on technical situation coming in the Avalanche update. So, yeah. So what we found out here is that there's a whole bunch of bullshit you can do for medals that they will give you. And you as a player to fucking customize. You can add a friend group here. Friends, which would be nice, I think, if you could actually invite them to games from there. And not break the goddamn Steam game. And then they're adding these ribbons they've added. You can now add them as modders. And modders are giving access to peace conferences, the debug tool, the balance of power, which is the whole fucking reason for this DLC, unit medals and units, which I personally might fuck around with there. But yeah, that's really all for this update, and that is the last dev diary to catch up on until they put out one, and I'll make a video on that. So, I will see you people then. Go ahead, leave me a like, leave me a comment. You may see some more other things on this gaming channel. Other than that, I'll see you for the next dev diary or the next video. I'll catch you people around.